The Obama administration has a mechanism in place for sanctions against those responsible for sectarian violence in South Sudan, and is now looking very closely at targeting individuals behind fighting that followed December allegations of a coup attempt. In an interview with VOA, Secretary of State John Kerry said it's time for leaders in South Sudan to lead.
The leaders need to step up here and open up to creating a civil society, open up to government reforms, open up to dialogue, open up to inclusivity. All those kinds of things need to happen, and open up to compromise.
Kerry says the great hope of South Sudan's being dragged down by personal ambition and animosity as rivals battle for control of the young country's oil exports.
Clearly, it has become personal. It's also I think about other things like revenues, oil, power, and not just related to sectarian violence. I think the sectarian violence has been, to some degree, exploited as a means of pursuing other ends.
Former rebels who took power in South Sudan after a long civil war have failed to resolve ethnic divisions within the new government, says Human Rights Watch Deputy Washington Director Sarah Margon.
There's a long history of how the government has behaved itself when it wasn't the government. Violence tends to be the way many of the individuals in the government had previously tried to gain power.
That violence has displaced more than 1 million civilians. Kerry calls this a betrayal of the people of South Sudan and a source of frustration for the international community that helped the country gain its independence just 3 years ago.
But that doesn't mean you don't keep pushing and you don't keep focused on the prize. The prize here is an independent, viable South Sudan where you have a government that is growing stronger, not weaker, and where you're being more inclusive, not less inclusive.
Humanitarian needs are part of Kerry's trip to Africa this week that includes talks with South Sudanese leaders in Ethiopia and visits to the Democratic Republic of Congo and Angola. Scott Stearns, VOA News at the State Department.